And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check, in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
And now, coming to you live from the .biz radio network on ProWrestling.biz and presented by Wrestling-News.net, it's Main Event Madness. Madness Unleashed. We are your reaction show, so call 914-803-4532 and use the hashtag MEM Live on Twitter to connect with us during the show. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's show, John Curry, Mark Madison, and Mike Holland.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a new Main Event Madness. It is March 19th. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day. To all of you out there, I know our beloved Wayne Daly, Wrestling-News.net, cheap plug. It was like Christmas for him. But yeah, St. Patty's Day weekend. Hope you guys are enjoying it. We are pretty much the eve to WrestleMania. WrestleMania week is next week. Hard to believe it's already here. I am joined, we're waiting on one more, but I am joined tonight by my co-host, my co-pilot that you can hear from me each and every week. He's a writer for PJWrestling.net, Sportskeeda, PWP Nation, the Sportster, the Richest. Did I get them all?
Yeah, and actually I will have a new piece, a blog out with the Camel Clutch blog, that is, something I'm pretty excited about, too. That should be coming out tomorrow. So, new venture.
Yet another new venture. And we will be joined momentarily by the tardy Mike Holland. Momentarily. But it's been a couple weeks since we've been on the air, and oh boy, is there a lot to talk about. I don't know where exactly the best place to start is. We had the road to WrestleMania really getting their feet dug in with the return of Seth Rollins on Monday. The whole Mick Foley thing just seems like nothing more than a tease for Kurt Angle or the post-Mania Raw. Reminds me a little bit of like Shane and Stephanie. I think that's the way it's going to go. And I'll talk about that more when we talk about Raw and SmackDown in a little bit. But I if you remember the invasion at the end of it when Ric Flair came back, they signed away their rights to the WWF or the WCW and the ECW to a consortium, that kind of thing, where Mick Foley signed away his rights to being a GM to Kurt Angle or something like that. Another Attitude Era name that didn't get along with Stephanie McMahon, and that'll probably culminate at SummerSlam and more drama that we've seen. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm just kind of procrastinating until Mike joins us momentarily. But I'll get into something then while I'm waiting for him, and it's something you and I had talked about. And next week I said, you know what, we've been hyping it up on Twitter, Mark. And I think next week's a good time as any. We'll reveal it next week. We have a WWE Hall of Famer that will be we have an exclusive interview with that'll be on the show in the coming weeks, but we'll reveal it next week. How about we open the show next week and reveal it? How about that?
Super.
Gives them some kind of incentive to tune in. But what was I going to say? It's been a hectic week. Which, by the way, if you guys want to chat along with us on Twitter, use the hashtag MEMLive. And if anybody decides they do want to call in, it is 914-803-4532. That's 914-803-4532. I'm not quite sure. Actually, now that I'm getting my S together, it was a late start to the show. I apologize about that, folks. My dinner ran a little bit late. Had a big family dinner tonight. Want to address something. I'll put it out on social media. For those of you who do listen to the show each week, A, thank you very much for your support. But B, you may have noticed periodically on the show we make reference to my father, who has been battling various forms of cancer over the last few years. That fight's not going too well, and because of that, we're doing a bunch of shows around WrestleMania. We're going to do a post NXT show, and you guys will be able to get more information on this Facebook.com/MainEventMadness. But we're going to do a post NXT Takeover show on April 1st. No, it's not an April Fool's joke. Sorry, I had to try to get that in there somewhere. Obviously post WrestleMania, which will have some banners, graphics, and all that fun stuff for you guys to be able to retweet or see on Twitter. And we're going to do a post WrestleMania Raw and SmackDown show on Tuesday the 4th. And then there'll be some content from us periodically. But for the most part, that's going to be it for us for a little while. I'm taking a hiatus. I want to spend time with my parents, with my dad, before his time comes, and apologize to anybody who has been supporting us, and for the start-stop that we've had in the last few months, I apologize, but we'll be back, definitely. Not quite sure when, but just figured I would get that out there so people know that a little bit of a break is coming. It's good I know we recharged our batteries before, but it's never a bad thing to recharge batteries and be back clear-headed, clear mind, and ready to go into the fall. Start this whole road to WrestleMania thing all over again at the end of the year. But any thoughts on the week that was, Mark? I know I talked a lot.
No, buddy. I mean, it's your ship to steer. So I say, you know what? There's bigger things, more important things going on in life. And you had the floor, buddy. So I didn't want to say or interrupt at all, just because of that reason. We unfortunately, we had planned on things happening a little differently before the end of 2016. We were delayed. Just life happens, and unfortunately, we really try and coordinate just not one person's life. We're trying to coordinate four of us get together and chat, and it's really hard. It's a real challenge to try and make it work, and that becomes an issue too. And technical issues have sometimes gotten in the way, and delays, and not everybody being on board, and for whatever reason, and life comes in, and this is a bigger priority, and it doesn't work without you. Anything else is kind of watered down. I'll tell you the truth, right? So that's my thought on it. So
yeah,
we're all thinking about you, buddy, and that's
appreciate that. I appreciate the well wishes, and I appreciate the condolences, thoughts, all that. I am sorry. I do feel like I've been letting you guys down a little bit, especially we took a break in the fall. We took a break in the winter. We're taking a break again, and I apologize to the fans too because it's not it's not easy for fans or listeners to get entrenched into a show that start stop. So I am sorry for that, but we'll be back when we are back. And again, I won't be going away. Still Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. And I won't be going away as far as social media goes. Still on Twitter at John MEM Radio, at the Mark Madison, at Darman Rockwell, at WWE BNRL, at WN_net. Did I get everybody? There's like a million of them. Beautiful girlfriends on Twitter.
Probably.
That's a fun thing. I know. She like if you go proportionally, she probably has more followers than me. Like if you take away how many I'm following versus followers, yeah, I'm pretty sure she has more followers than me. But does she watch, and is she like interested and excited about wrestling as you are? Because I know Mrs. Madison sometimes is very annoyed at storylines and it grates her nerves. It's why she won't come on the show. But she doesn't hate wrestling.
But Lady Curry, come on. Sorry?
I said she doesn't hate wrestling.
I can't call her Mrs., but I can call her a lady. So
exactly. She doesn't hate wrestling, but she hates Triple H. She used to like Triple H, but now she thinks Triple H is a bitch. But
okay.
I think I'm gonna get her into it. She wants to go to a show with me, so I'm not. It's not an all loss, but we'll see.
Is there anything happening with the next few months that you go, bring Dad, the 3 or 4 of you go and enjoy a night of wrestling?
I wish. Not trying to get too sympathy, but to be I guess blunt with it. I don't know how long he'll be with us. And again, I'm not saying that to try to get like cheap sympathy or bring the tone of the show down or anything, but that's just kind of where it's at. Just I wanted to do something for him with the New York Mets, and I don't even think he'd be able to go down and do that. He had to do some even errands with my stepmother, a town away last week, and just a couple days of that wore him right out. So it sucks watching him, but I'm gonna enjoy what time I do have. I don't know how I feel about that. Wayne just said I should play Grand Theft Auto during the show one week. But I don't know how that will go during doing a show. Maybe by the post Raw and SmackDown show, WrestleMania week. But nonetheless, let's move on to happier things, and by happier things I mean, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. Whiskey sour? Yeah, I can. Done.
All right. Wrestling podcasts are a dime a dozen these days. But you want a show that you can feel is yours and a show you can react on and react with. Well, ask and you shall receive. Main Event Madness is now your reaction show, as we're live after every pay-per-view at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. BlogTalkRadio.com/ProWrestling.biz and Wrestling-News.net are the places to be, as we have new episodes every Sunday. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Main Event Madness. Madness Unleashed, a ProWrestling.biz radio network production. We here at Main Event Madness pride ourselves on being able to connect with all of you during the show and, more importantly, after the show. And you want more ways to do it? No problem. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness is the official Facebook page of Main Event Madness, and it's loaded with columns, news, opinions, as well as upcoming guests, showtimes, and more. Check us out and give us a like today. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. So you're a wrestling fan, and you want news, and you love hearing about different shows. No problem. Wrestling-News.net has you covered with news on all of your favorite promotions, including exclusives you won't find anywhere else. Also, Wayne Daly has you covered with results from shows almost anywhere in the globe. Check them out today. Wrestling-News.net.
CrewRoundtable.com is the place to find discussion and analysis on all the hot news topics taking place in the Greater Toronto Area. Join CrewRoundtable.com for fun and entertaining talk on news, current events, and listener-suggested topics. Unlike mainstream media, CrewRoundtable.com gives you all sides to the story so you can make up your own mind. Visit CrewRoundtable.com.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the Lord. Lord, man is putting into my running, and I'm so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you crying, you're so scared and all alone. Hangman is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long. They take it up and use it now. They finally found me. The renegade who had it made retreat for a bounty. Never more to go astray. This will be the end today of the wanted man.
Hey, John? Hey, John? Hello? John? Hello, John? John? John?
All right, let's try this again. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, finally. I don't know what the hell happened there. Nonetheless,
Just
we're
don't
back.
move.
Well, I had to reconnect, apparently. You jinxed us. I'm not quite sure
Who?
what you did, sir. It's all your fault. Mike, I'm talking to you,
Who?
that is.
Me? Oh, okay.
listen, it's not my fault. I called and Mark was doing like a Ferris Bueller reference because he kept going, John. He didn't call on me, so I didn't answer.
That's funny.
Hey, guys, I'm
You
sorry
can hear
about this.
me.
This is the best thing Greg DeMarco could have ever done for me. Where is it? There it is. I just had it. Hold on. There's so many damn sound effects on this, you don't even know. But, nonetheless, I'll have it for you. Anywho. Welcome, Mike Holland, the tardy Mike Holland.
Thank you, John. Although apparently you were too, because you weren't here when I got here. I'm just saying.
Let's try it again. Is that
Very
working
nice.
for anybody?
Yes, I heard it loud and clear.
Hey, by the way, you're just mad because I'm Oh, this is the worst thing I could have done, was actually go through his sound effects. I hope that's not going to get me in trouble.
Yeah, I'm already afraid. It's only been about a minute and a half. Oh, not this.
Believe that.
Because,
That's what I do.
okay, I'm done. All right, so where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start with the Hardys?
Sure.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on here, and apparently they're getting sued.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how much of this I believe. Apparently, Matt Hardy has said he was the brain trust for the broken Matt Hardy character. Apparently, that's not true. Apparently, it was actually Jeremy Borash, who, before I throw this to you guys, Jeremy Borash had one of the most entertaining exchanges I've seen on TNA, or I'm sorry, on Impact Wrestling, because they're not TNA anymore, that I've seen in quite some time. And that was his little exchange that he had with
Josh Matthews.
Yes. And I just, do you guys think that could be leading to Jim Ross, or what do you guys think?
So it would seem.
But what do you guys think of the whole thing with the Hardys getting sued by Impact? Do you think this thing has any traction? Do you think it goes anywhere? I mean, have they stopped? I haven't been able to get on the internet in the last few days. Do you think they stopped using the characters?
Well, they temporarily have, because it's. I mean, I have no idea who did what, but it's enough of an issue that they've temporarily halted it, and it's kind of hilarious because the fans are, chanting it anyway. But, so it depends. I mean, if your anthem, you kind of have to do it, because you can't afford for those guys to take that and go somewhere else. And they're, I'm sure, crapping their pants concerned that they're going to take it to you know where. So
it's just I don't know. Like, for a company that's trying to get all their fans back to, like, single-handedly target their arguable biggest stars in the company, or former biggest stars, I thought the whole "don't burn your bridges" thing was, I don't know. I don't think it was too smart, because it didn't look like the Hardys had any interest in coming back to Impact Wrestling because of the way the contracts were handled. But even if they had one, say deals fell flat with New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, even the WWE, they at least had the option. But now they're getting sued by them. Would they even want to? It's kind of like a reverse CM Punk and WWE,
right,
in a way. Although at least CM Punk and WWE, you could at least see this ending amicably somehow. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Well,
Bret Hart came back to WWE. Anything's possible.
Well, he did, but I guess what I'm saying is they kind of have no choice, because, like, put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say that they were in WWE when they came up with this, or, again, I have no idea who came up with it or not, if it was a collaboration, which it seems like it may have been. There's no way that they would do this against Vince McMahon. There's absolutely zero chance that they would leave WWE and say, we're going to continue to use these characters, unless they were sure that they had the legal footing to do it. So I think this is kind of like a test of wills, because they figure, this company's on the ropes. They're not going to oppose this, and we'll see how far we can get with it. And I'm not, again, assigning blame. I mean, I get your point, and it's well taken. But I just kind of feel like they had to do it, because if they don't, if it does eventually go that way in the future, any judge would look at it and say, well, these guys went out and used the characters, and you didn't say boo, so why would you say it now?
That is true. Mark, do you have any thoughts?
Well, just to kind of piggyback on Mike, if they filed trademark, which it sounds like Reby Sky did, March 1st, who's going to, how do you oppose that? If anything, you tend to question if another promotion doesn't back up and doesn't secure those properties themselves. For all we know, they have, and it just was never released, because all we're getting is Reby on Twitter stating, or Rebecca Hardy stating on Twitter what they've received, but we don't. I always think that there's generally three sides to a story, and unfortunately, we're hearing them saying that papers were filed. Impact, have they come out and actually said anything? Or are we just hearing it through the Hardy camp? And this is what they've received, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to... So... You guys?
I hear you.
Yeah, I don't think they've really seen anything from Impact's side of things. Aside from
publicly, they haven't.
Well, who the hell was it? Was it Bruce Pritchard? No. It was what the hell is the president of Anthem's name, or the president of Impact's name now? Ed Nordholm or something like that? Is that his name?
Yep.
He said something. So, yeah. Let me try to find it really quick. I don't want to. Ed Nordholm. He acknowledged the Hardys. We thank Matt Hardy for his superb performance in Broken Universe. May the seven deities guide or with their broken brilliance left behind. So that was a direct response to Matt Hardy saying many valiant men and women remain in the TNA trenches fighting in the hashtag Great War. I may exist on another plane now, but fight onward, soldiers. And that to me was like him trying to say that the Broken Universe belonged in Impact.
Right.
Yeah.
to get team together with Jeremy Borash, commander of Vanguard 1, and new SVP International Relations, Jeff Jarrett, and Impact Wrestling, and at Lucha Libre, AAA. That was actually a tweet of his a couple hours ago. I don't know what that's about, but it looks like he's trying to take. Go ahead.
The only reason that the Borash statement or argument has been thrown out there that he came up with the concept is coming from a third party. So from what my understanding is, during an interview with Stevie Richards, back when he was with TNA, or I guess earlier on, before it actually had begun to develop, he had accredited Jeremy Borash with coming up with a broken concept. So are there facets of the character that the Hardys developed? See, then we're getting into murky waters. Well, I created the idea, but I helped develop the idea, and I floored so. That's where I think maybe we're splitting hairs. Maybe all parties are partied to the development and the creation of the concept and the characters.
Well,
because I'm senior, Rebecca keeps mentioning her dad, Senior Benjamin, not getting paid and was an add-on. Maybe that part was developed on. You know what I mean?
He wasn't paid.
Well, that's what she's saying.
She's saying, yeah, that's what she's saying.
And I would say, Mark, like, I think you have a good point there. And again, I mean, you know, as you guys know, I only know what I read and what I know. But anytime you have a writing team, anytime you have collaboration, I think it's very hard to trace where something came from to one person, which I think is in line with what you're saying. I mean, whether it's Saturday Night Live, whether it's, you know, any show, scripted show where you have characters being created, it's the writers and the performers getting together and executing the concept. I mean, even if they came up with the name of the character, obviously there's so much of it that's tied up in Matt Hardy and his performance of it. But legally speaking, one would have to assume that unless TNA, as they were then, is crazy, and they've given us reason to doubt their business acumen, they would have something set up similar to WWE, where you know going in as a talent, if this is a good idea, we're going to get our cut. You can't take that character, even if you had the lion's share of the idea. I mean, look at, you know, WWE going after people using their own name because it was, you know, started in their promotion. So this is where I say, like, I would assume that, you know, Impact's lawyers are not going to be at the caliber of what Vince has. But I think ultimately this battle is going to cost both sides a lot of money, and I don't know that it will have an answer because I think your point's well taken. I don't know too many ideas in the wrestling business where one person says, oh, yeah, I came up with that, and everybody else universally says, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, you did. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, Mike, you and I were writers. We collaborated on a piece. Neither one of us can say that it was 100% either one of ours idea to make that joint call and concept work, right? So for anybody, just as you're saying, any form of collaboration, it is a team effort. So who was quick to say, guess what? I'm going to something is fishy. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this particular scenario. I'm going to secure it by trying to trademark it and filing that, which Rebby Hardy has been very open and saying that she did. So.
And it's just weird that Impact would actually be willing to really spend the money. If this, you know, if they're bringing up copyrights and all this shit, then obviously it's something they're willing to pursue legally if they have to.
But
and
that's
with
what
the cease
I'm
and desist,
John,
with the cease and desist and everything that they're issuing the Hardys, for a company that really doesn't want to spend money, are they really going to pursue this, or are they just trying to look like they have a set?
They just, in my mind, they have no choice, because if they don't do it, they're acknowledging that what the Hardys have said, or in their, whatever method they've said it, is correct. Like, I think legally speaking, the Hardys are in that battle of who's going to blink first. And I just, like I said, I think your point's well taken. I'm not saying that your average wrestling fan is going to give them kudos for going to battle over this, because in my mind, again, it's just me, but I think that Matt's delivery of the character, if you took that same character and you gave it to a different wrestler, they would not have been successful with it. So in my mind, if you're asking me personally, I give him the lion's share of the credit, regardless of if somebody else created, part of the character. But legally speaking, it may be a totally different story. So I think they had to do it out of, I don't want to say fear, but reaction, that if they did nothing, it could be held against them later. So I just think, it's a situation where, like I said, they're deathly afraid that this is going to go to their, competition, or if you even want to call it that, and they have to do what they have to do to prevent looking like fools, which I think, like you said, they may anyway, but they would look even worse.
They don't need any extra help with that.
Well, you're right, but they would look even worse if they went and took the gimmick and used it, and people were like, well, you had it and you had legal rights to it, and you let them go do whatever they want. Like, at that point, you're just an idiot.
It's like they're trying to prevent a lot of the mistakes that, like, the WWF made at the initial, like, Monday Night Wars. You'd have Rick Rude playing the same character, or Alundra Blaze, and she'd just change her name and it's the same character, to try to keep their own property. But I don't know. I don't know how much with the whole new regime between Anthem and Jeff Jarrett. I don't know how seriously I take them. I don't know if I'd actually believe them if they'd want to try to put their foot down, because then it's going to turn a lot of wrestling fans away, because fans more and more these days are becoming fans of wrestlers and not so much fans of promotions. Like, you see people, they're like, oh, I'm Young Bucks fans. Oh, I'm Seth Rollins fans. I'm Finn Balor fans. I'm Matt Hardy fans. You don't really see too many people saying, I'm a WWE fan.
Right.
It's either wrestling fans or it's the wrestlers. And you see the wrestlers being turned on by companies, it's going to make them, in turn, I think, turn on the companies themselves.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate, John. And unfortunately, right now, it feels like, it's the vibe that I get is that both Ring of Honor and TNA have, like, a lot of talent leaving their promotions, and not necessarily for the opposing promotion. I think they're all going to Evolve or going to New Japan and looking at someplace different, which is unfortunate. I'm saddened by the fact that the guys have left Ring of Honor, and just in such a short time, and names more being speculated to be leaving. So it's a shame if that's the case, even for that company. But it means that we, in order to track, what's going to be the next company that comes up and starts putting on programs, does What Culture Pro Wrestling start to develop into something? Who knows?
It'll be interesting, and especially, if nothing else, at least, Ring of Honor's got Supercard of Honor WrestleMania weekend. And there's a massive amount of wrestling shows around WrestleMania weekend. So at least, if nothing else, it's keeping Impact in the mouths of wrestling fans as we creep closer to WrestleMania. And I don't know. They say at least it's, at least they're happy with publicity, but is it good? Is it good to have that kind of publicity? I don't know. But nonetheless, let's switch gears here. There's another scandal this week. I want to get Mike's thoughts on it first, and that was former Divas champion Paige. Her phone got stolen, and did they release a lot of shit. You know the sad part though? Is anybody truly surprised what we saw from Paige, or what they released from Paige? Let's word it that way. And like Mark said, kudos to the websites that aren't posting it, that aren't encouraging people to steal people's cell phones and hack people's photos and videos. But wasn't anything shocking. Actually, I take that back. A buddy of mine in me and Wayne's chat said apparently she had a picture with the NXT Women's Championship. Did you guys hear anything about that?
No, I did not.
But here's the thing. So Hulk Hogan was involved in a scandal. I mean, yes, his was racist, but the reason I say this is it was involving a sex tape company. And, he had the whole sex tape issue, the lawsuit and everything. And there's talks of Hulk Hogan being brought back to the WWE.
Right.
They fire Paige for it, and if they fire Paige for it, it's a double standard if they bring Hogan back.
But they didn't fire him for the sex tape. I thought the issue was the racist comments.
Right.
I think that's slanderous against if he said anti-Semitic or if he said something homophobic, I think it would be just as much of an issue. But somebody's private, it's not like he did it knowingly. It was recorded without his knowing. And even if Paige had known about this, videotape that was being done, that was their business. That's I make it akin to anybody. If I don't lock my front door, doesn't mean I close my door and I lock it. Because you can pick the lock on my door and break into my house, doesn't give you a right to walk in. I don't know if that's maybe just me, but as a father and having a daughter and knowing that, there are choices and decisions that are going to be made as an adult. She's not a child. She's an adult that made this decision. Leave her alone. So that's kind of my beginning and end on it. Sorry, guys.
Well, I agree with your point, Mark. I mean, I saw what you put on Facebook that John mentioned, and I agree. I mean, I'm certainly not going to condone somebody giving away somebody's private information. I think the fascination with celebrity is disturbing. Let's just put it that way. And I think that people that enjoy trying to create drama in other people's lives, it's a little bit overstated. Look, I'm not going to get into the details of what was there. I just don't think it's appropriate to be commented upon for me. But I will say that, 2 points come to my mind. One is, the history of Paige and the WWE has been problematic enough without this being in there. But let's not fool ourselves that there's plenty of people working for that company now, including some in high-profile positions, that have had their own issues. I mean, hardly a week goes by where somebody's not sending out. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's what I was thinking of first and foremost. But you had the multiple things with pictures being sent out, and Matt Stryker is an example of somebody who inappropriately enough, and then goes away, and is it because of that or whatever? I mean, as a publicly traded company, they have a responsibility to make. What'd you say?
I said I forgot about Matt Stryker. I thought he got fired because he said holy shit in the middle of the pay-per-view.
Listen, I wanted to forget. But the point is, I mean, like Mark said, at least in that case, if you were sending it to somebody and it was intercepted or you sent it wrong or whatever happened, or that person that you sent it to decided to share it, the blame is partially with you for making it available. That is far different from a situation where someone hacks you or, tries to blackmail you or whatever. And look, I don't have any sympathy for Hulk Hogan and what he said. And I don't have sympathy for, some of the things that Paige may be referred to as for her choice of, relationship partners. But when it comes to the bottom line of is this defensible or not, if anybody out there is going to take the approach that she deserved it because she did it and that makes this okay, I just fundamentally disagree with you in the same way that I don't think it's appropriate for Edward Snowden to give away secrets and say, hey, I'm a patriot. Maybe in some quarters you are, but not to me. To me, you work in an industry where you have access to this. You were given access to something. And in this case, you weren't even given it. You just took it, and you did it, in my mind, to be destructive. So I don't think WWE is going to do much because, by the way, they're financially obligated to keep, Paige in the company for a multitude of reasons. What she did certainly does not define a contract breach in my mind. So you would have to come up with some cute way to just send her home and not pay her. And I think, frankly, Vince is too smart of a businessman for that. So, it's an unfortunate situation. I feel bad for some of the people involved, but I think, like Mark said, I'm never going to defend somebody taking something and using that to their own notoriety. I think it's, frankly, disgusting.
And we didn't even get into the other aspect of it, and that is who was involved in one of the videos, and that is former longest reigning tag team champion in WWE history, Xavier Woods. I saw something earlier, and Brad Maddox. That I laughed at when I heard. I'm not gonna lie. And I loved the pictures. People were like Del Rio and Brad Maddox in the same shot. But Xavier Woods, I read something earlier that they might keep New Day off TV until WrestleMania now because of it. And I don't know. If Paige isn't going to get any sort of punishment, I don't think Xavier Woods deserves any punishment because it wasn't specifically his video or his content that was leaked. He might have been in it, but it wasn't his. It wasn't in his possession. I mean, he partook in it. So, I mean, I could definitely see both sides of it. But
it would be a double standard either way. They protected Seth Rollins by keeping him off television. They kept him off television, and Seth publicly apologized for it even being exposed. Paige publicly
acknowledged
that
she didn't apologize.
She didn't, nor should she have to, because private information was taken from her.
True.
Although I do find that the next post after that was the Rag and Bones YouTube video, Human. I'm only human after all. So if you were to go to her Facebook page, that's telling, right? And maybe mistakes are made, and it could just as well be that. Maybe that's what that video is supposed to suggest. I'm not sure. But again, we can speculate. But at the same time, I think they're trying to protect all parties by not making them public right now, letting cooler heads prevail. Does that mean that at WrestleMania somebody on a live show won't say something? They're going to do their best to try and censor stuff out, for sure. But
it'll be interesting to see. I just hope they don't go as far as kick Xavier Woods out of the New Day or something like that. I don't think they would, but this is also Vince McMahon and the WWE we're talking about here. So,
from the gaming community, his YouTube channel, Up, Down, Down, and it's just booming. So I can't really see that taking a dive because there's this crossover with other talent. So they're aware of it. They make note of the YouTube channel, but at the same time, it's bringing in a whole different demographic. So they really, that's something they need to keep still tapped into, you know.
And there's
Gaming
something I
nerd
read
culture.
that. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, you guys could probably both understand if social media had been around in the 70s and 80s, you know, when these guys were on the road doing whatever to whomever, you know, you would have 5,000 more scandals. I mean, I think the sex element of this, it's not the Victorian era. I mean, I agree with Mark. If this was someone related to me, I would feel horrible for them, the fact that I may not agree with what they did. But this is a bunch of entertainers with access to many substances, right, who are going to make bad decisions at some point in their life. They're on the road all year, and they got to blow off steam. So I'm not defending the action, but I'm just saying to you guys, let's not kid ourselves. This business is built on bad behavior. A lot of times it's encouraged, and many times it's exploited. And some of the worst in a person is brought out to the forefront for a television angle. So, you know, like look, I almost take the opposite, which is I think in an odd way it actually benefits Paige, because she's been on the outs with WWE already for things that are far less, you know, concerning than this, like who she's dating and whatever else, and they've held that against her. So now you're kind of in this public position where anything you do will be seen as a reaction to this, you know, private behavior. So, you know, John, your point's well taken. They can do what they want to do, and I'm sure they're not happy about it. But let's face it, I'm not Mr. Emancipation of Women necessarily, but this industry is a boys' club. It's been that way for a long time. Guys have been able to do whatever they want and have, you know, groupies in every town and everything else. So, you know, the same thing that would get you much acclaim as a guy, unfortunately results in a lot of things being said that I think are not appropriate. So, you know, to me, that's the sad part of this story is I just, you know, I feel like it just gives rise to a lot of these opinions that people have. And some of the stuff that I have seen, you know, both on John Canton's, you know, his feed and, you know, some of what Mark has referred to, like, I just think, you know, unfortunately a lot of people in this society judge not lest ye be judged is all I can say, because some of the stuff that's out there is way, way worse than what I actually, you know, am aware of for this video. I have no desire to go and see it because I don't care. It doesn't affect my opinion of the performer one way or another. But I think it's a sad state of commentary that something like this gets, you know, much more reaction than the important stories that are out there in my mind.
And well, you hit the nail on the head. Like, just the celebrity obsession.
Before you step in.
What's up? Mark, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
No, you were saying something. You just went quiet after you.
Well, no, because you kicked in, so I didn't want to interrupt you. That's all. I was just trying
to.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Mike, I will say one thing, and if for whatever reason she's dismissed around this particular incident, it just says that women's revolution that they're all talking about, this Divas Revolution, it's just lip service. And that anything that they were trying to say that they're advocating for meant nothing. So this is, they're boasting one thing, and then people that are online and reading stories, and there's this very fine line that they got to be careful, because they will turn people off. Oh, because you disciplined somebody for their personal behavior, which didn't harm anybody, was their own information, and yet you tried to say we're building up this women's and we're bringing them to the forefront. And it almost seems like they're not separating between the two. So.
Agree.
Definitely.
Sorry, John. You were.
No, you're fine. Trying to think what I was going to say. My co-hosts are making good points tonight. It's throwing me off my game. Not that they don't every week. Very well timed good points. But all right. So how about this? Let's take a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk about Raw this week, the road to WrestleMania, taking a little bit better shape. I'll pull up the WrestleMania card. Just get a little bit of a feel for it. And then at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by the one and only Evan Ginsberg, the new host of the Evan Ginsberg Show. We'll have some information on that, and we're going to hear from him and a new edition of Ginsberg's Gab coming up at the top of the hour. But I said, let's take a commercial break for me to get my S together, which, yes, hold on. I'll give myself this.
Damn!
But I gave myself that because Mark and Mike won't admit that I'm
glorious.
Okay.
I don't know. I just found a bunch of these. Here you go. Is this better?
Really? 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 Really?
Is that better? I don't know. I just found a bunch of these sound clips that I'm happy about. Anyway, let's hit a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk Raw, SmackDown, WrestleMania, Ginsberg's Gab, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Mark, I'm gonna throw it to you. Do we have an edition of Wrestling's Tinder tonight?
We will have an edition of hashtag Wrestling Tinder in the event that our time works, but maybe we can try and hit that up after a commercial and before Evan comes in and lays down some knowledge on us.
Sounds good to me. All right, so let's try this again. We're going to a commercial break. We'll come back. Wrestling Tinder, and then Ginsberg's Gab, and maybe some talk about Raw, SmackDown, WrestleMania, and a bunch more. This is Main Event Madness Radio, guys, where the madness is always unleashed, broadcasting live on the ProWrestling.biz radio network. And we'll be back right after these words. All right. Wrestling podcasts are a dime a dozen these days. But you want a show that you can feel is yours and a show you can react on and react with. Well, ask and you shall receive. Main Event Madness is now your reaction show as we're live after every pay-per-view at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. BlogTalkRadio.com/ProWrestling.biz and Wrestling-News.net are the places to be as we have new episodes every Sunday. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Main Event Madness. Madness Unleashed, a ProWrestling.biz radio network production. We here at Main Event Madness pride ourselves on being able to connect with all of you during the show and, more importantly, after the show. And you want more ways to do it? No problem. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness is the official Facebook page of Main Event Madness, and it's loaded with columns, news, opinions, as well as upcoming guests, showtimes, and more. Check us out and give us a like today. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. So you're a wrestling fan, and you want news, and you love hearing about different shows. No problem. Wrestling-News.net has you covered with news on all of your favorite promotions, including exclusives you won't find anywhere else. Also, Wayne Daly has you covered with results from shows almost anywhere in the globe. Check them out today. Wrestling-News.net.
CrewRoundtable.com is the place to find discussion and analysis on all the hot news topics taking place in the Greater Toronto Area. Join CrewRoundtable.com for fun and entertaining talk on news, current events, and listener-suggested topics. Unlike mainstream media, CrewRoundtable.com gives you all sides to the story so you can make up your own mind. Visit CrewRoundtable.com.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the Lord. Lord, man is putting into my running, and I'm so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you crying, you're so scared and all alone. Hangman is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long. The city's up and music now, they finally found me. The renegade who had it made, retreat for a bounty. Never more to go astray, just to be beaten today, the wanted man. Oh, mama, I've been given a lamb, and now I promise on my head. Oh, man, to get him dead or alive, now it's for sure you'll see me dead. Dear mama, I can hear you crying, so scared and old. Hangman is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long. The city's up and music now, they finally found me. The renegade who had it made, retreat for a bounty. Never more to go astray, the judge will have revenge today.
Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast is where pro wrestling past meets pro wrestling present. The language is strong, but the banner is better. Booking the Territory drops 2 shows per week. The Thursday show covers all things classic wrestling and our weekly classic top 5 discussions. The Sunday show drops every Sunday night is completely dedicated to walking through each and every episode of Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You can subscribe on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcasts from, such as MikeMills.podbean.com. That's Booking the Territory Podcast. Booking the Territory on Facebook and Twitter, Facebook.com/Booking the Territory, and at BTT_podcast on Twitter. That's Booking the Territory Podcast. Sundays and Thursdays, MikeMills.podbean.com. Booking the Territory. The Pro Wrestling's past meets Pro Wrestling's present. All right, we're back. Main Event Madness Radio, March 19th edition of the broadcast. That's probably the best job I've done doing these commercials. And I thought the one where you guys couldn't hear me was good, but that one was even better. St. Patty's Day weekend edition of the broadcast, or as Wayne. Thank you, sir. Wayne probably had a haluva weekend. I bet you he didn't drink. I'm going to ask him in the chat. It is time, folks, for hashtag Wrestling Tinder, and Mark, take it away. I like when I don't have to do the talking.
Okay, guys. So, for fans and listeners of Main Event Madness, if you're not familiar with Wrestling Tinder, much like regular Tinder, if you're interested in a topic, if you're interested in that special someone that looks a certain way, catches your eye, you swipe left. If you're not interested, am I doing it right? And if I'm not, I've got John that will probably correct me on that. So Wrestling Tinder, much like our interest, particularly in somebody else, Tinder would be affiliated with topics. So if we're interested in a topic, whomever I go to first, that's first right of refusal. If they want to talk about it, they'll swipe left. If they're not, they'll swipe right, and then that other person has to follow suit. So only 2 people on board tonight. Only a few options out there, so let's go with it. Who wants up first, John or Mike? I'll leave it up to either one of you guys.
John, you go first. I think you have more experience with regular Tinder, so.
Not in the last few months.
No, there you go.
Fair enough.
Okay, John. Lucha Underground now is available on Netflix. So it's Lucha and Chill, which is the other hashtag circulating. Again, if you're interested, swipe left. If you're not interested in talking about that, swipe right.
I guarantee my girlfriend wouldn't be able to get into Lucha Underground if I tried to get her into it. So I'm gonna swipe. So it's swipe left if you don't want to talk about it, right? I'm
It's
pretty
swipe
sure
left
Mike
if you
knows more about
do.
Tinder than I do, but
If you're not interested, it's swipe right. If you are interested, it's swipe left.
Follow the directions, John, would you?
I'm not interested. I'll pass. Go to Mike.
Oh, you got to swipe left. You got to call it though.
Swipe
You got to
left.
swipe right if you're not interested.
It's swipe right if
Oh,
I'm not
so you are
interested. Then I'll
interested.
swipe right. Swipe right.
Okay. So then
You
I have
kids
to offer
today
you
in
another
your
topic.
social
So
media.
I got to keep going to you until you're interested in the topic. So next topic, something I actually had posted on Facebook for any followers that might be out there and or friends. John Cena posted up on his Instagram a picture of Jay Lethal. Swipe right if you're not interested in elaborating. Swipe left if you are.
Is it me again or is it Mike?
It's you, John, until you you have to start.
I'm sorry. I have like 55
not,
different messages going at the same time. I will swipe left about this because I think it's hilarious how big of a troll John Cena is on his Instagram and how people, what the hell is that? How people get so worked up by what he tweets or what pictures he posts. I'm sorry, wrong social media. You know, he had people up in an uproar and all pissed off because he posted a picture of Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega didn't show up at the Royal Rumble, and now he's got a picture of Jay Lethal, and then he had a picture of CM Punk, and people are just all up in arms, upset that Cena's messing with him. I think it's hilarious. I think it shows that Cena likes messing with the fans and having a different kind of connection than being the smiling, happy-go-lucky babyface. But that's just me. Mike, I'm going to pass it to you. What do you think?
Well, I agree, John. I think your response was very cogent, and I don't know how much I could add to it. I'm quite surprised considering that you still have not figured out the rules for Wrestling Tinder, but you
I
did
was better
manage
last week.
You did
or
manage
last,
to
last
cobble
time,
together.
I should say. A couple
You
like a
did
month
manage
ago.
to cobble together a solid response. I think you're absolutely right. I think fans like to speculate. They like to think that everything means something, and I would only offer them that if you listen to the Beatles back in the day, they told you that Paul McCartney was dead, and many people believed it, and it was, they were having fun with people. They were pulling a rib on them. So that's part of wrestling, and I think your take is correct. I think John Cena likes to have fun with the people and get them talking, and he accomplished both with this. So I have no negative thing to say about it. I think it's just a funny thing, and people, again, on the internet, please, do you still believe everything you see? I hope not.
Well, it's on the internet, so it must be true.
Well, just like Tinder, don't be disappointed in the reality when you, set up that blind date.
Very true. I'm glad you have more experience in setting up blind dates on Tinder.
John, you're still trying to go back. I already said that to you at the beginning of this. Don't try to use my own joke against me.
It was worth a shot. Next topic.
Well, before we go on to the next topic, I think Mike deserves 50-cent word in the use of the word cogent, which you would almost never expect to hear in a wrestling discussion. He breaks that out. I'm actually searching it up on dictionary.com as to what the heck cogent means, but I'm sure it has, it makes sense, and I'm not going to be one to argue with. So there you go.
Thank you. Clear and concise,
that
Mark.
Cena has been able to do it and have fun with it because it's hard. Fantastic. And I think it's great to have him going out there and having just much fun with IWC as everyone else. So why not? Okay, now over to Mike. So again, if you're not interested in the topic, swipe right. If you are interested, swipe left. Alexa Bliss has come under some scrutiny, listed as not not developing as well in ring history, and that became something that's been speculated because working with a professional, long-time professional like Mickey James, you think you'd be able to have some sort of chemistry. If you're interested in talking about that, swipe left. If you're not, swipe right.
I will swipe left on this because I think it's actually kind of tangentially related to what we talked about earlier, Mark, and what you said about the women's revolution, which is, any time that anybody on the women's side of things has a less than stellar match, I think the claws come out. And, I think Alexa Bliss has been great. I have no issues with her, ring work so far. Do I think that she needs to improve at times? Sure. I mean, she's relatively new to being called up. She's in a huge position. She's got a title already that I think, she's done an effective job with. She's portrayed a great heel, which I think is not as easy to do as people sometimes think it is. And I know that when they kind of went out with this, somebody else who enjoys getting into it on Twitter and social media, which would be, the former Jesse James, right? Armstrong, who is, basically a road agent at this point, and obviously in the WWE hierarchy, basically lashed out and said there's no truth to it and don't believe what you read. We think she's doing great. So, again, I'm not in there. I don't know. But I think she's doing a great job. And I think, unfortunately, the women are under the microscope much more than the guys are. And, as far as the whole part about her having this program with Becky and that's the only thing they feel confident in doing with her, I wouldn't hold that against Alexa Bliss if it's true, because WWE has a habit of putting the same two people in the ring 100 times a year before they move on. So I just think it's much to do about nothing, and I think it's, it's overblown. If, again, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I think she's done a fantastic job. And frankly, I think that division and how well it's done on SmackDown is at least partially to be credited to Alexa Bliss. So that's my take.
I think, do I have to say if I'm swiping left or right?
No, I already swiped.
It's unfortunate. Well, he's already swiped left, so you have to follow suit. You have to talk about it.
I think it was a little too soon for her to come up when she did. I think Bayley should have been the pick. And maybe, if we're picking two women from NXT last July, Bayley and Asuka would have been the ideal picks. Having said that, I think Alexa Bliss has done a really good job as a heel. I don't think she's really done much as a champion. I don't think Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss both did really much as champions with the SmackDown Women's Championship. They've had good matches. I don't think there's been anything really to write home about as far as the SmackDown Live women's rosters or women's matches have gone. Having said that, promo-wise, Alexa Bliss has blown away the WWE women's roster, Raw and SmackDown. As far as Charlotte goes on Raw, it's the same thing every week. And at least with Alexa Bliss, she's able to channel a little bit of almost like a Trish Stratus. I think she reminds me of, especially her tone in the promos. But I think she's better than Trish Stratus was.
Yep.
And I think the sky's the limit. Do I think they should be freaking out about her? No.
Wow.
Because she's younger than me. And I think the sky's the limit for, especially with this brand split, for her to, show the world what she can do and show the brass what she can do. Also, is it really fair to have somebody named Vince McMahon judging you these days? Because in that case, we'll have Roman Reigns champion 20 times by the time he retires. Oh, God, that's probably going to happen. But that's my thoughts.
Super. So, folks, that ends another edition of #WrestlingTinder. Check back with us again next week, where we will have new topics, new discussion, and maybe Brandon Lasher will be able to join us so we can throw something else. Maybe we can criticize the Oregon Ducks. I'm not sure, but that might not be a discussion we want to talk about. So,
hey, I got
back over to our regular co.
I got something this time.
Oh, okay.
Brandon Lena coming soon to Main Event Madness. Was there ever any words in the Emelina promo?
I don't
like,
think
did they
so.
ever say it? Okay. This is the video. The audio behind this was from the Emelina promo. All right.
I'm glad you explained it because I didn't even know what the hell that was.
It's the background audio for all the videos that Paige had stolen from her. I'm going to hell for that one. All right, so really quickly, before Evan Ginsberg joins us, and can you believe this? Evan Ginsberg actually went to a WWE show.
Nice. Okay.
We'll hear about that more in a little bit. But first of all, it's time for the Schilling's Corner. If only we could get Kurt Schilling to do that voiceover. Mark, what do you have coming up for you this week in your 74,983 various outlets?
Well, I make sure that I'm not wearing a bloody sock as I throw these out to you. I really have to work that one in because you mentioned Kurt Schilling, so I really have to try and pick up my feet. Actually, Brandon isn't here with us this week, which is unfortunate. We've mentioned him in the past. But Brandon and I worked on something. When we put our wrestling pens down, we pick up either whiteboard markers or chalk because our day jobs are teachers. And as teachers, we thought, why not try and put that together in a concept, something called Getting Schooled with Mr. Lasher and Mr. Madison. And we had a collaborative effort that's up on tgrwrestling.net, which was quite fun to do, and it seems like some of the response to that's been fairly positive for the most part. Sports keto related, I just had 5 things the WWE probably don't want you to know about or think about when it comes to Charlotte. That was just released today. I have a solo effort coming up with TGR Wrestling this coming Friday, something about reestablishing the bar, and it refers back to the Omega and Okada match back in January, and we touch upon that a little bit. And I will be debuting with the Camel Clutch blog, which I'm pretty excited about too. Outlet is about 500,000 views a month, and they have lots of former Bleacher Report writers that are part of that as well, which is pretty interesting. Eric, that operates the site, has a fair bit of experience working as a ring announcer, and so we're excited about that aspect and working with that. Mike, throw it over to you, my friend, who has things in the fire and lots of things brewing that we don't always see because he's mild-mannered.
I'm scared.
Thank you, Mark. That was a little. Well, I will say to follow up on Mark that I enjoyed our collaborative piece that because you and I kicked off the collaboration crew as far as the TJR Wrestling content goes, and we will certainly have another episode, if you would like to call it that, of our excellent wrestling adventure. Which will be after WrestleMania, when is really the best time to dig into kind of what the rest of the year is going to hold and where the storylines are going to go from there. So I'm excited to be doing that again with him, and that'll be coming up shortly. And then in addition to that, I will have, if not tonight, then tomorrow night, sometime over the next 2 or 3 days, my follow-up piece on TJR Wrestling. It will also be on Raja.com, which will be to the article really in 2017 is only slightly a couple months old, and the feedback that I got on my article about why this year's WrestleMania is not as exciting perhaps as years past was so intense. I mean, there was just a lot of response to that I felt the need to continue that discussion because I think it's resonating with quite a few wrestling fans now that we know what the card is going to be in pretty much its entirety. I don't think I just speak for myself when I go, eh. So, John, that's the sound effect I need from the soundboard. It's, eh. Because that's basically what, thank you, that's good. That's what my take is on this year. That's good, too. That's a good one, too. So I'm going to have a follow-up on that, which hopefully I would love for everybody to go check out. Give me your thoughts and your take on how you feel about it. But I do definitely have a few cool things coming up that I am excited about. So check it out.
Former friend of the show, Hank McAllen, who is also a writer with us at TGR Wrestling, put out a piece, and I'm not one to normally talk about something that isn't within our direct correlation, but he put out a piece where he doesn't like the WWE, and he doesn't hide that. And when he and I worked on our Grumpy Old Men piece, we found that was pretty easy for him to get angry. So he actually went to a Ring of Honor show with his son Mark, and they experienced the whole title change hands between them and the Young Bucks. Really fascinating. If you come across it, the name of it unfortunately eludes me, but I'm not sure, Mike, have you had a chance to read it? Or did you come across it?
I did not check it out, but it sounds right up my alley because I love angry ranting.
Yeah. Well, and it's a lot older angry ranting. It's so you got frustrated with something and it's just like everything is crap. I need to go look elsewhere, and he did that. So I wish I had the name of it, but yeah.
Hey, seeing as we're all shilling random things here, I'll shill something.
Go, John. Good.
Drop it.
Coming this week on Wrestling-News.net is my first column in almost a year. It is WrestleMania 33. We're booking. I don't even remember. Hold on a second. You guys go ahead and shill your things for a second. Let me get the title of mine. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but I'm very happy about it. I was angry about WrestleMania. And long story short, I discussed the differences between the card we have now and the card we should have had for WrestleMania, or what we could have had. I mean, realistically, it's still what we could have had. And there it is, WrestleMania 33, where fantasy became a nightmare. Try to do a little bit of a playoff of WWE's catchphrase for Survivor Series. And I gave some comparisons between the card we have now and a couple matches I thought we should have had instead. Just more, it was more of an angry rant. I was pissed off when some of the matches got put together that I didn't want. And I felt, what better way than put it into a column. I usually do one a year or something like that. I wanted to do more than that. I haven't yet. But that's going to be coming this week on Wrestling-News.net, one of the other homes for this website. And again, that's WrestleMania 33. Wow, I'm really bad at this. You guys do this better than I do. WrestleMania 33, where fantasy became a nightmare. See, I don't usually have things to have to chill. No, it wasn't. That was horrible. What are you talking about?
Nowhere to
Hold on a second.
John.
Hold on a second. I'll give myself something. You guys' plugs were
Glorious. Victorious.
Mine was
Damn.
And somebody was begging me to
Shut up.
But who we don't want to shut up is a man who is finally back on the airwaves in New York City. He's going to tell us about it before he actually tells us how he surprisingly, shockingly, and unbelievably went to a WWE show in New York City and actually paid for tickets at the Garden. He is the one and only, the incomparable associate producer for the Oscar-nominated film The Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke, which you guys can find wherever you can get videos on demand, as well as Wrestling Then and Now on Amazon Video. The one and only Evan Ginsberg.
Thanks so much, John. It's great to be back.
Hey, I tried. It's been a while since I gave you an intro like that, and it still kind of sucked. So I'll give myself another...
Damn!
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about WWE at the Garden, which was a mixed bag. They had a surprise opening match. Randy Orton against AJ Styles. Opener. Can you imagine?
Now, was it a SmackDown show or was it a Raw show?
It was a SmackDown show. So, but I mean, wouldn't you think logically that's the kind of match that they would promote instead of just, throw it on haphazardly? But anyway, it was a good match. It wasn't a great match. I gave it 3 stars. You would think guys of that caliber would have done better, but it was pleasant. It was pleasant. I think they're capable of more, but that was followed by Rhino, Heath Slater, and Kalisto over Breezango and Kurt Hawkins, which was kind of workmanlike and instantly forgettable. Followed by Dolph Ziggler over Apollo Crews. The fans were absolutely numb for that. There was no reaction whatsoever. Then they had for the Intercontinental belt Dean Ambrose over Baron Corbin, The Miz, and Luke Harper, which almost was comedic. There was a lot of comedy moves and reminded me of the old days when Sky Lolo and Little Beaver and the midgets came out. It was entertaining, I suppose.
Tall midgets.
What's that?
Tall midgets.
Yeah. And then, in one of the worst rip-offs I've ever seen, Brock Lesnar beat Kevin Owens in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes! Okay? So, Kevin Owens comes out, jumps him, and Lesnar hits him with a couple of suplexes, and that was it. That was it. So the fans were, noticeably upset by that. And then the women came out, and Asuka is tremendous, absolutely tremendous, charismatic, and she's just heads and tails above the other 7 women that were in the match. And although it doesn't particularly matter, the result was Asuka, Tamina, Becky Lynch, and Nikki Bella over Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Natalya, and Carmella. The introductions were longer than the match itself. It went about 5 minutes. American Alphas over the Usos, nothing special there. And here's what saved the show. Bray Wyatt pins John Cena in a great match, a great 25-minute match. The fans that hate Cena, the guy's 40 years old. He gives 110%. I'm jaded. I've seen everybody. And I'm telling you, this was an excellent, excellent match. They wrestled. They traded pinfalls. They brought in furniture. They brawled through the crowd. This had everything. I gave it 3 3/4 stars, and you could even give it higher.
Wow.
I mean, tremendous, tremendous main event. And but the card itself was nothing special. I mean, it was like watching a SmackDown TV show for the most part. But what left me impressed was Cena's still giving his all, and Asuka is, she just has superstar charisma, and that was basically the show.
So are you happy or are you sad you're not going to WrestleMania like we had talked about a year ago?
Well, I have no desire to spend that kind of money on a wrestling show, to be honest. It's to me, it's just another pay-per-view. You kind of know in advance. Owens and Jericho should be great, assuming they give them enough time. And I don't know. I mean, what? I would think Austin Aries and Neville will tear the place up. There's not much else on there that I think has the potential to be great. Certainly not Goldberg and Lesnar. So what else is there that would really have the potential to be memorable?
I'm just flabbergasted that you went to a WWE show and enjoyed a match.
So am I. It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years. I don't know what Well, I'll tell you what motivated me. I'm a big mark for Lesnar and for Kevin Owens, and I thought that would be great, and it was horrible. So Bray Wyatt came off like a star. He came off like a main event arena star, and the guy's tremendous. He's tremendous also. Him and Cena.
John, I have two things for Evan. One is I'd like to thank him for reminding us all that American Alpha still wrestles in the WWE, because I'd forgotten that they even existed.
I forgot.
They're not
them
even
2 minutes after the match.
Exactly.
They're not even going to be on WrestleMania this year.
And the second thing is I know that Evan is hot about it, and I understand why. But I would offer that you said they wrestled for 4 minutes, which is probably 2 minutes longer than any other match that Lesnar's had, in the last, year and a half in the WWE?
I saw reports of 3 and 4 minutes. Basically, the entire match was Lesnar turned around, Owens jumped him, punched and kicked him a few times. Lesnar got up, suplexed him, and it was over. It was either 3 or 4 minutes max. It was ridiculous.
Just another showcase for Brock Lesnar going into WrestleMania.
Well, here's a guy on a reduced schedule. So at least when you're out there, put on a match. I mean, it's not like the guy's tired, I mean, am I nuts? There are people paying $131 ringside. They were disappointed, visibly disappointed. You could feel it. So it didn't really go over.
So
I thought Goldberg gets winded, just put his title on his shoulder. So forget a match.
I mean, they might. See, I'm thinking at WrestleMania, if Goldberg can't work anymore, that might not be the last match on the card, because you don't want to leave somebody with a bad taste in their mouth. I would think maybe they put on Reigns and Undertaker last. If they're smart, they put on Owens and Jericho last, because that's a definite. Those guys will just kill.
Now I have to ask you.
Yeah.
When a TV taping comes to New York City again, would you go?
No, I have no. TV tapings upset me. It's painful. What's that?
Even if you were comp tickets, you wouldn't go?
I was comp tickets for years, and I just said to myself, I'm suffering. I don't want to go. So probably not. Probably. Raw is basically 3 hours of your life you'll never get back. I mean, basically you got 20 minutes of quality wrestling. It's endless inane chatter.
Or quality talking.
Quality talking.
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, I mean, Owens is a good talker. Jericho's a good talker. There's not. I mean, half the guys they have talking can't talk.
This is true. I got nothing. Evan's making sense about the WWE. This is like the Twilight Zone.
Well, I'm trying to be objective. We're on a radio show. If I said it was all crap,
you don't
I'd
have
be
to
lying.
Be objective. I'm a negative prick about the WWE lately.
Well, I mean, Raw is just it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I don't know. I watched 24 from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I can't even watch 3 hours of it anymore.
So what's going on in the world of Evan Ginsberg these days? Not trying to get you off the show, because I'm not. But what's new? You have the Evan Ginsberg show that's starting up. Tell us about that.
This is a streamed in-studio radio show. It's called VillageConnectionRadio.com, and every Sunday starting April 2nd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to have wrestlers, rappers, actors, writers, basically what I was doing on my old show, but it's kind of like what Howard Stern and Imus does, a streamed live in-studio radio show. So this is our new project, and we're going to have a big launch party next. What's that? Hello? Hello?
Mark, try again.
I can't hear him.
Did we lose him? We didn't lose him.
I could hear John, but that's it.
I know.
We
Mark.
are experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, his connection hasn't been that good tonight. Playing the role of Alfonso Merriman is Mark Madison.
Same thing.
Hey, there he is. See, look at that. It's like the magic
I can hear
word,
you guys.
Alfonso. Okay, let's try this again.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you sound a little distant.
I can hear you. Yep.
Take two, and action.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. That's probably why. Yes, I'm here. I can hear you guys.
You sound like you're at the bottom of an ocean. Anyway, that's pretty much the scenario. I don't want to take up all your time plugging stuff,
It might
but
be.
yeah. So that's pretty much it. Sunday, April 2nd, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. VillageConnectionRadio.com. You could check out my show live on the site, and it'll be archived. I have a page on the site. You could catch it any time. And that's pretty much the situation. Wrestlers and poets on the same show. You'll never see this again in the history of ever. So,
are you going to have a co-host this time? Because I know you used to have Steve Ludwig and John Winnell on Legends TV.
It depends. Maybe a different co-host every week just for fun. I have this guy Sir Style. He's an indie wrestling manager who's running for mayor of his town. This guy is colorful. He's going to be my co-host on the first show. We got to get you guys down to New York one day. You guys could come on and co-host with me.
No.
That'd be a road trip.
Yeah. Come out to the Big Apple, New York, New York. So nice we named it twice. Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah. Come on down.
So
I'll show you the non-tourist stuff. I'll show you the good stuff.
I think that's an offer I've had extended to me for the last standing offer for the last couple of years.
My sister lives in New York.
I'll be down that way eventually. Sounds like he's like in slow motion.
His audio is fading like he's going under anesthetic.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've told Mark Madison many times
They
to not
come up
call from
on
inside
the
the igloo. Do not call from inside the igloo, Mark. I've told you that.
Right. Good radio is when you could hear every third word. Yeah.
That was the beginning of the show.
Yeah. This is like context clues in an English class. We hear like every third word he says, and we piece it all together and try to determine the words we're missing. So
I'm going to tease this before we move on here. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to have an announcement. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. We said, fuck it. Let's reveal it tonight. So in a few minutes, I'll have the reveal of what WWE Hall of Famer will be on the show, and Facebook.com/MainEventMadness in the next couple weeks. We'll have more information about more names that'll be on the show coming soon. Excited for that. Evan Ginsberg's been helping us out with that, so I do thank you, sir.
My pleasure. I've had WWE Hall of Famers sleep on my couch. You know, it's never dull. Anyway.
So really quick. Oh, go ahead.
I can't hear any of your.
Can you hear me,
cast.
sir?
I can only hear John.
Mark dropped off again. Oh, there he is. While we're in the business of shilling, I do believe, aren't you working on a documentary?
Yes, we are. 350 Days, starring Bret Hart and superstar Billy Graham. Also, we have several late wrestlers in the movie. Tragically, since we started filming the movie, George Steele has passed, the Wolfman has passed, Ox Baker has passed, and Don Fargo has passed, and they're all in this film. But the stars are Billy Graham and Bret Hart, and Greg Valentine, Tito Santana, Bruce Hart. We have tons of legendary wrestlers in this documentary, 350 Days. You can see the trailer on Vimeo, and that's going to be out in 2017. I'm the associate producer on that, and it's going to be very special. 350 days because in the 80s they were on the road 350 days a year. They didn't see their kids' Christmas. They didn't see their kids' Thanksgiving. The divorces, the broken relationships. People have no idea what these guys went through physically, mentally, emotionally. And it's going to be a very serious documentary, and I think it's going to be hopefully one, if not the best documentaries ever done on wrestling. And as everybody knows, there's no better talker on planet Earth than Billy Graham. So he's front and center. And Bret Hart's very sincere, very, like I said, they're really the stars of this.
Definitely excited to see that when it comes out. And I'm also excited to see what you think, Evan Ginsberg, next Sunday about WrestleMania 33. WrestleMania,
I think it's just another pay-per-view to me. Like I said, you're going to have your 3 or 4 quality matches, and you're going to have your okay matches, and you're going to have your instantly forgettable matches, and I don't see what the big deal is, to be honest. It's like if you're going to put out 14 or 16 pay-per-views a year, shouldn't your number one pay-per-view be something special? It doesn't feel it.
That is the sad part with WrestleMania the last few years, is that it really does feel like it's more of a generic pay-per-view than it used to be.
I mean, there's every possibility that the pay-per-view following it, which is usually a meaningless one, could be just as good, if not better. You certainly don't have high expectations from Goldberg, and Reigns and The Undertaker should be good, but it's just a weird vibe when, no matter what Reigns does, there's just a chorus of boos. It just throws the whole rhythm off of a lot of his matches. The guy makes a big comeback and everybody boos him. It just feels strange.
But
there's
I don't think
a lot of shows going on that weekend though too. I mean, there's the NXT Takeover show on the Saturday. There's Supercard of Honor on the Friday. So it's a pretty busy weekend, I think, overall. So all leading up to the Sunday. So all those previous cards that are happening that weekend are probably top what WrestleMania does.
I have a question for you guys. Have you tried this Flow Slam that shows Evolve and some of the top indies? I mean, I was just curious if it's worthwhile.
I haven't heard that many good things about it. It's the one with like Ring of Honor and all that are on there.
Not Ring of Honor. They have Evolve.
Ring of Honor's not on there? Oh, Evolve's on there.
So. Yeah, they have the major indies. It's like $20 a month, and you could see all their back content as well. They have all the so-called pay-per-views archived. I was just curious because some of the shows are good anyway. I was just curious about the experience itself.
I haven't heard too many things, and not really anything good about it.
You'll be getting hate mail from them shortly. Anyway.
I wouldn't embrace being the asshole of the show if I wasn't good at it.
Yeah, I can't make a judgment because I haven't tried it yet. So,
hey, you got to have some kind of fun with it.
Yeah, I remember back in the day. I won't mention names, but I tried a pay-per-view, and there were a lot of tech issues, and the promoter asked how was the experience of watching the pay-per-view, and I was honest. I said, when you have tech issues, it takes away from the enjoyment. And then he just, attacked me online like you're insulting a mom and pop operation. And I'm like, you asked for feedback. I'm just being honest. So sometimes this could get a little touchy, but I'm not trying to attack the little guy. I was just curious. About the experience itself, and I would be willing to try, and I would give an honest opinion of it. So,
I remember having a bad experience listening or watching. I think it was Triple Mania. It was MLW was hosting it. Because it was happening in Mexico, and the feed it dropped, and so you could hear the audio, or you could hear the commentary, but you couldn't hear the color commentary. So you would hear part of the commentary. So that was an issue, and then the feed just drops. It wasn't cheap. I mean, it took a year to put it together. So to North America, I want to say this was a couple years ago. Power and Lucha Underground executives, they were all behind it. I know that was happening, too, because there was a crossover of the Lucha Underground talent being there, and it was a shame to watch. And, yeah, it was unfortunate. I think I'd spent on it, so. And they apologized. Unfortunately, things will happen, but they're very professional in the way they handled it. But.
The Ring of Honor pay-per-view last week, tech-wise, was great. It just it was a very small venue, which when you compare it to a WWE show, it didn't look quite as it didn't have that wow effect, when you're at WrestleMania and there's a zillion people there. But tech-wise, it was great. No issues there.
Yeah. No, they're always on tap. But that's the thing with the Ring of Honor show. You'll get less than 2,000 people in a smaller venue. And I think the crowd and the emotion is what they really try and build on, as opposed to the pyrotechnics and the aesthetics of it, really. So. Yeah,
I walked out of the WWE show. It was like going to the Globetrotters. They had announcers in the stands talking to 3-year-olds and blaring music and pyro. And if that's the WWE experience, it didn't really do much for me. It's like walking out of a concert. You're like stunned from the volume. It's I don't know. All I want to see is good wrestling. Actually, let me rephrase that. All I want to see is great wrestling. Good wrestling isn't enough after all these years. I just want to see great wrestling. So
on that note,
it's happy to see Christopher Daniels win. That was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very happy to see that Christopher Daniels, long overdue to win this championship, but I mentioned it a few minutes ago. It was kind of an impromptu thing. I didn't mean to cut Evan off, but coming soon on Main Event Madness, we have an exclusive interview. Here's the reveal. I wanted to have an audio clip, but fuck it, why not? We will have an exclusive interview with the one and only soon-to-be WWE Hall of Famer, the Olympic gold medalist, the only guy in the history of the sport to have a gold medal, former WWE champion, former World Heavyweight champion, former TNA champion, Kurt Angle, Mark Madison did a good job at that interview, and we'll have that for you guys in the next few weeks on the show. And I'll have some graphics out in a second, but that's the big announcement that we've been teasing a little bit. Kurt Angle on Main Event Madness, and that was awesome. It definitely feels more like we're a little bit more legitimate getting a name like Kurt Angle on the show, anyways.
Kurt Angle's tremendous. That guy's the real deal.
So that'll be in the next few weeks, and that is going to do it. Again, Kurt Angle interview coming soon on Main Event Madness Radio. Any final thoughts? We got about 2 minutes before we get ready to wrap up.
I'm shocked you didn't discuss Paige. How come you didn't discuss Paige today?
Oh, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, yeah. We that was, I think, our second or third topic. We did that at the end of the first hour. But we'll go around the horn. Any final thoughts from Evan?
I think any celebrity should keep their clothes on and not make videos because inevitably they're going to leak, and then your mom and dad are going to find out. That's my thought.
Absolutely. Mike?
I would just, I was listening to Evan talking about his experience at that show, and I think, I appreciate what he said because it's something that I don't know if everybody realizes, but it's so true. I mean, I've attended many wrestling shows, and some of them, TV, some of them pay-per-views. When you go to a WWE episodic show at this point, meaning Raw or SmackDown, it's gotten really, really tough to get through, to his point, because you are absolutely every commercial break, they just blast every manner of media and marketing at you that you could ever see. And, again, I know he's the old schooler, but I'm going to just say to him, what happened to the days of wrestling while the cameras were showing the commercials? The benefit that you get of going to the show is that you're there. So you get to see the guys wrestling. You can't do, even a minute of a rest hold would be better than having to watch, here's the John Cena on the Today Show or whatever they're trying to sell. So I think to his point, my closing thought would just be WrestleMania will have some great moments. Obviously, we'll be discussing it, I'm sure, on this show. But they continue to put the media and the marketing before the wrestling. And look, this is why they wanted to change the name in the first place. It wasn't because they lost a battle with panda bears and koala bears to, change the name of the promotion. It was that they wanted you to know that entertainment is in the name, and right now the entertainment as well as the wrestling is lacking.
And I just want to say, as someone who survived the WWE at MSG, I am not impressed by 35-year-old men carrying belts around their shoulders. The fans, I'm just not impressed. You're not winning anybody over. It's not a good look. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That was tremendous.
Mark,
but if they're wearing luchador masks,
that's okay. That I could accept, the luchador mask. The belts around your shoulder don't make you a champion if you bought it. Yeah.
It's acceptable if you're 5 years of age.
It's okay if
Anything
you're
over
5.
that.
It's not okay if you're 35. I'm sorry.
Kind of like wearing a baseball cap backwards. It's not cute after.
That's okay. I have a lot of rapper friends. I could live with that. Yeah.
Mark, any final thoughts, sir?
Not really. I think we kind of tackled it. I'm excited about what's happening all that weekend. Really, I think looking forward to Takeover. It's NXT isn't what it was, but it's building, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do there. I'm interested in Super Card of Honor that's happening, I believe, on the Friday before. And yeah, I'm looking forward to WrestleMania for everything that it is, accepting everything that it isn't, not expecting more. So it should be a really fun weekend of entertainment and definitely wrestling.
Absolutely. And on that note, guys, we thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We'll be back next Sunday with a new edition of Main Event Madness Radio. The first of, let's see, one Saturday, Sunday. First of 4 in 9 days. Going to be a lot of main event madness coming before we head on hiatus. And until next time, guys, be good, be safe. And Lord willing, you guys will be back with us next Sunday. We do it all over again. For Mark Madison, Mike Holland, Evan Ginsberg, I'm John Curry signing off. ProWrestling.biz, Radio Network, Breaking Wrestling News, and BreakingWrestlingNews.com, ProWrestling.biz, and Wrestling-News.net. And until next time, guys, see ya.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.